Welcome to the Klan in southeast Nebraska. We start the story with the organizational background of the original Ku Klux Klan. The American Civil War ended on April 9, 1865. One of Abraham Lincoln's first planned steps for Reconstruction was to bestow civil rights to former slaves. Many white Southerners were outraged at the prospect, as they would never accept a black person as an equal. Less than a week after the end of the war, President Lincoln was dead. As Reconstruction played out, many states in the South and the North outlawed marriage between blacks and whites, with Nebraska passing its own restrictive intermarriage law in 1865. State militias in the South, once manned by Confederate soldiers, were replaced with new state militias, oftentimes manned by newly freed black men. Prior to the Civil War, it had been against the law to teach slaves to read and write. But after the war, schools for blacks were constructed. Black people were free to travel and move about, and their movements made white people suspicious. Witnessing what they considered outrages to their way of life, Southerners became more and more frustrated. That frustration led to violence. The New Orleans Massacre took place on July 30, 1866. During a peaceful demonstration put on by African Americans, a mob of whites attacked. Between 35 and 40 black people were killed and approximately 150 were wounded. In Memphis in 1866, 46 black people were massacred. During the event, another 75 black people were injured, 100 or more people were robbed, and at least 5 women were raped. Approximately 90 homes were burned. 6 Confederate officers, Calvin Jones, Frank McCord, Richard Reed, John Kennedy, John Lester, and James Crow, returned to their home in Pulaski, Tennessee after the war. They found their community nearly destroyed and their way of life obliterated. The 6 friends were frustrated, downtrodden, and bored. According to early Klan member J. N. Brunson, the 6 men formed the Ku Klux Klan in the spring of 1866. The Klan was created merely as an amusement, as something to occupy their minds and time. Inspiration for the name was kiklos, the Greek word for circle. Ku Klux was used to represent kiklos. The usage of the word Klan paid homage to their Scottish or Irish ancestors. To the founders, the name meant circle of friends. The organizational meeting reportedly took place within the home of Judge H. M. Spofford. Other sources say that the Klan formed in December of 1865 within the one-story building pictured here. Whichever the case, after formation, the Klan used the law office at 205 West Madison Street in downtown Pulaski for initiations. The law office was small, so the founders searched for a larger location to hold meetings and initiations. They selected a tornado-damaged home that had belonged to recently deceased Dr. Benjamin Carter. The Carter House was located on a ridge near the west edge of town, and they made what was left of the house into a den. The founders created a variety of frightening costumes that included robing and a hood with eye holes. Cardboard was used to create the shape for a pointed hat. The peak of the hat extended high in order to make the Klan members appear taller. Men considered worthy of membership were blindfolded and led down into the cellar of the house for initiation. The initiation ceremony was filled with the type of foolishness expected from a group of young men with big imaginations and too much time on their hands. Those men rejected for membership faced similar foolishness, placed inside of a barrel and rolled down Carter Hill. Meetings at the den were secretive. When business was being conducted, a Klan member in full regalia would stand guard. If someone wandered by, they might inquire as to why the guard was dressed in unusual garb. The guard was to respond with something sinister, such as being the ghost of a Confederate soldier. The Pulaski Klan came to realize that superstitious people, both black and white, were fearful of their ghostly-looking costumes. They also realized that their very presence cut down on the movements of black people, particularly at night. Their presence was also reducing crime committed within their community. The citizens of Pulaski took notice of these things as well, and attributed them to the Klan. Before long, the Klan had developed a reputation as regulators. Acting in that capacity, the Klan broke up meetings of carpetbaggers who were notorious for inciting blacks to commit acts of violence or were involved in illegal activity themselves. The Klan got into the habit of carrying whistles to communicate or send warnings during such outings. When the Pulaski newspaper reported on the mysterious new club and its members wearing strange costuming and holding secret gatherings, other newspapers picked up the articles. Curiosity about the Klan increased as a result. So much so that men came to the Klan looking for information on how to become a member or how to start a den in their hometowns. Within a short time, other dens sprang up. The Klan wanted to take advantage of the growing power they held over people. The lure of power attracted the worst kind of men to the Klan, and provided opportunities for members to act out on their frustrations. By early 1867, the Klan had evolved from a meaningless men's social group into an enforcement agency. As the Klan continued to grow and diversify, the founders felt as if they were losing control. As a result, they made the decision to reorganize in an official capacity. The Klan founders recruited former Confederate officers to help with reorganization, including Nathan Bedford Forrest and George Gordon. When Forrest joined the Klan, he became the first Grand Wizard. After George Gordon joined the Klan, he drafted the Klan's handbook. Gordon's handbook outlined the organizational structure of the Klan and its individual dens, officer titles, officers' duties, fees, an oath to the organization, a secrecy oath, and official colors of the flags and banners. Intoxication within dens was forbidden. The Klan also developed a cipher to write secret correspondence. In early summer of 1867, the original Pulaski Klan called for a Klan convention in Nashville to discuss reorganization. Klan representatives went to see General Robert E. Lee to inform him of the Klan and their works. Lee sent back a letter declining membership, but noted that he would remain an invisible supporter. Representatives from Tennessee and other states attended the convention. The letter from Lee was motivational, and it led to the use of "invisible empire" to describe the organization. What was not included in the original or revised versions of the handbook was the assertion of white supremacy. However, white supremacy was front of mind for many Klan members. Therefore, the assertion of white supremacy was likely communicated orally, as were many other aspects of the Klan, including its origin and rituals, which were intentionally never to be written down. The Klan decided to go public, organizing a parade in Pulaski on July 4, 1867. Members donned their regalia and decorated their horses in hopes of disguising them so that onlookers could not discover the rider's identity by identifying their horse. Fireworks announced when the parade was to start. People lined the streets hoping to see which of their neighbors or friends were Klan members. Residents were both disappointed and awed to see about 400 Klan members completely disguised in full regalia riding horses or marching militaristically behind them. The Klan paraded along the downtown area of Pulaski in complete silence, except for the directional use of whistles. Klan members doubled back, giving the impression that the group was larger than it actually was. They did this intentionally to mislead and mystify. The Klan also knew that their costuming frightened and intimidated the public, particularly black residents. For a time, the reorganization of the Klan that implemented a strict hierarchy and assigned duties provided the Klan more control of its many members. That control, however, was short-lived. Klan membership grew and attracted violent, angry men who wanted to act on their rage and frustrations. Klan members launched a reign of terror in the South. Although the founders denied accusations of violence and mayhem, and denied that the group formed for nefarious purposes, the mission of some dens was to assert white supremacy at all costs. After dark, Klan members donning their costumes would ride to the homes of black residents and dole out punishment for a variety of supposed crimes or for not living up to their code. Punishment ranged from whippings to beating blacks to death. Lynching of black men in the South became common. Many black families were driven from their homes or communities, as were Yankees still lingering in the South. Anyone who was not conservative could be the target of intimidation and violence. Some Klan members resorted to intense voter intimidation with actual or threatened violence and used actual or threats of violence to keep those they considered unworthy out of politics. During Nathan Forrest's tenure as Grand Wizard, hundreds of blacks would be murdered, many for just attempting to vote. The state of Tennessee passed anti-Klan legislation in September of 1868, but it did little to nothing to stop violence against blacks. Lincoln's successor, President Johnson, promoted his own plan for Reconstruction, which was not as progressive as what Lincoln had hoped to accomplish. Johnson felt that Southern states had the right to govern themselves. Northerners were outraged, knowing that Johnson was setting the scene for continued oppression of blacks. Attempts were made to restrict Johnson's authority, and Johnson's views and actions caused the House of Representatives to take steps to impeach him. The Senate, however, acquitted Johnson. The 14th Amendment to the Constitution was adopted on July 9, 1868, despite President Johnson's opposition. The amendment made citizens of former slaves, and as such they were supposed to be afforded all privileges, due process and equal protections under the law. But Johnson's actions prior to the adoption of the 14th Amendment proved disastrous for blacks because Johnson had effectively handed Southern states the right to discriminate and oppress black people at will. As a result, alongside the constant threat of Klan-related harassment or violence, black codes, implemented by Southern states, severely oppressed African Americans. Examples of oppression include steering blacks toward labor-related employment, and restricting their rights to purchase arms for protection, purchase property, lease property, or open businesses. Vagrancy laws made black men easily susceptible to arrest if they were unemployed or even appeared to be unemployed. If sentenced for vagrancy or other crimes, black men could be subjected to hard labor during prison sentences. It was legal for incarcerators to lease out prisoners for hard labor, which led to corruption and abuse. More and more black men were arrested and sentenced to prison in order to increase the number of laborers to potentially lease. The practice of leasing prisoners not only increased the amount of money coming into the coffers or the pockets of corrupt officials, it increased the ability to complete large labor-intensive construction projects. Effectively, the practice enslaved black people yet again. The federal government was forced to act. The 15th Amendment in 1869 gave former male slaves the right to vote. Southern states only agreed to ratify the two amendments in order to regain representation in the Houses of Congress, with their representation having been lost due to the South's secession from the Union and the development of the Confederacy. In March of 1869, the Ku Klux Klan officially dissolved and disbanded. The founders told Klan members to burn their regalia and anything else related to the Klan. All activity was to cease immediately. Due to the distant locations of some of the dens and slow communication of the time, most members outside of the immediate area of Pulaski did not learn of the disbandment. The anti-Klan legislation of 1868 had made it illegal to post ads for the Klan in newspapers. Therefore, the founders could not utilize newspapers to spread the word. As a result, many dens continued operating as usual. In 1870, the Klan was declared a terrorist organization by a federal grand jury, and Congress passed the Enforcement Act of 1870. The act protected the right to vote, the right to hold office, the ability to serve on juries, and the right to receive equal protections under the law for African Americans. Because voter suppression of blacks was rampant, banned was the use of terror, force, or bribery to prevent people from voting because of their color. The President of the United States was authorized to utilize the Army and/or federal marshals to uphold the act. The Second Enforcement Act of 1871 was aimed directly at the K.K.K, and therefore, is sometimes referred to as the Ku Klux Klan Act. The act made state officials liable in federal court for depriving people of their civil rights, which effectively made some K.K.K practices federal offenses. Due to the passage of laws, the disbandment of the Klan as well as criminal prosecutions of Klan members, overall Klan activity was suppressed by 1872. Some previous members joined other white supremacist groups. Even though the Klan was severely weakened, a series of Jim Crow laws oppressed black people further with forced segregation. Although there were supposed to be separate accommodations for black people for such things as public facilities, transportation, libraries, and education, they were notoriously underfunded, therefore were far inferior to white accommodations or non-existent. These laws made it easy for whites to discriminate and oppress blacks. Southern states also passed voter suppression laws, aimed at restricting or disenfranchising the black vote. We've reached the end of Background of the Klan Part 1. Thank you for watching, and please look for Background of the Klan Part 2, The Reformed Klan. For the complete manuscript, search the Klan in Southeast Nebraska on Amazon, or you can use the link provided in the description.